Hi and welcome back to my workshop. I'm Tony and I'm building a 1:6 scale bridge, and I'm building this for my Tiger, my late variant Tiger that I built for Armortek. And if you've been following me, you would have followed that whole journey from the time I unboxed it right to completion. And as you know, I wanted to build something that would actually give my tank a bit of a challenge and make it a bit more fun, and also challenge my driving skills to, to develop those driving skills. So anyway, the bridge is underway, as you know, and the last time we left off, we had put in the main structure for the suspension effect, if you like, of the bridge, and the main transom, which secures and supports the whole thing. Since then, all I've done is just tidy the transom up a bit, put a couple of extra fixings in. This is super strong now, really pleased with that. And I just started doing the handrail, and I'm only doing the handrail out of components or materials that I have a part of the original order. So it's a very straightforward process. I'll go through that with you shortly. And today what I want to try and do with the help of these two guys is using them really just for scale. And rather than just using measurements and rulers, I just thought it needs to look right and feel right. So I'll employ the help of these two guys here. And they're really principally going to be to help me when I do the machine gun nest to make sure I've got the right height. And again, all I'm doing is using the material that I've got left over, offcuts, and haven't bought anything else. Everything from the original delivery is still being used for part of this, or the build of this bridge. So that's it for today. I'll reset the camera up, and we'll get cracking. And who knows, I might even get in a situation today to get this ready for a bit of rubbing down and painting. But I'll catch up soon. So the idea is putting a machine gun nest on the end here, using the offcuts. And if you said that the wider of the two and the narrower of the two, these are just, as you can see, leftover offcuts. Sorry, my head's out of the camera, but this is more important that you see this. So what I'm going to do, I've got to be conscious that I can't narrow down the width of the opening to the bridge, because obviously the Tiger will clip that as it goes through, unless I don't want to be going through dead slow. I want to be able to put a bit of pace on it. So I'm going to use the smaller of the two bearers as the upright, and then wrap the wider of the two to form, a corner detail like so at the end of the bridge. Obviously using old Klaus here is to help me with the scale. So that effectively what the plan is, and then this will become a kind of a machine gun nest. And then what I want to do is I'm going to run the handrail into the back of this, and then what we can do is we can then build up the gap in underneath here with some sandbags and make it look a bit, a little bit more realistic. So what I'm going to do now is just work out the right kind of height. So what I'll do, I need to trim the edge of this off because it's overhanging just on the leading edge. So knowing that that's why we're going to do that, I'll just mark that. Just needs a little bit taken out. I don't think I need to cut that with a saw. I should be able to do this with my chisels. These are very, very sharp. Always classic, right on a knot. Anyway, that's fine. That should locate in there nice. That's perfect, exactly what we want. Now it's just really about the getting the height right. So old Klaus is going to have to start earning his keep. So effectively, if he's standing here, I know this is really crude, but it's all quite funny. If he's standing here, it needs to be of a height, especially if I've got to have some sandbags. I also need to be conscious of the height of the handrail. So about there for now. And let's just see what happens when we put the handrail part in. Just suggesting roughly where the handrail is going to go. Yeah, so it needs to come up higher, assuming that that is level. It's pretty good. So that needs to come up. Put a clamp on that just to hold that. So this needs to come up to about that kind of height. And now if I just put... Hi mate. Just make sure that that is level. Just needs to adjust the height of that a little bit, just to come up a little bit. It's about right. So now that gives me the height of this. Just mark that. And while I've got this on here, if that is level, and it is, just going to mark where this has to be cut. So that gives me that, and then the only other thing really is to make sure we'll mark the bottom. I'll get my square to do that. So that's the mark that, so that's the one that has to be cut off. So now what we do is we'll I'll go and cut this, come back, and we'll start assembling this. Now that we've got that right, what I'll probably do is just mark that there either side, so it helps me with alignment when we cut it. And that's it. So I'll take all this apart. That's my cut that I want. That's the off cut. This is, just mark that as a cut. Take that off, go and cut that, and I'll be right back. So that's it rubbed down and all the sharp arrows is removed. Just locating that pretty much where it was before. Clamp on that. I'm kind of deliberating over whether I take this into the back of this machine gun nest or not, because I just thought about where old Klaus will be standing, and oh, this kit's come undone. This is probably going to be in the way. I mean, look, again, this is not you know, an exact science. This is all just me sort of making this up as I go along. So I think that if he was manning this machine gun nest, this is going to get in the way. So what I'm actually going to do is match the other end. So I'll cut that at the angle here, which I've already marked, and then we'll just build up the machine gun nest this end, and that'll be fine, I'm sure. So I'll go and cut that now. I'll be back. So that's it for today. I've just had a bit of a clear up at the end of each session. I try and tidy up, get rid of the sawdust and all the rest of it. And as you can see, I've sort of, my experiment actually worked out all right. So what I did is I just made up using the last bits of material that I got left over to make up a ladder, which will, when it's finished and set and glued, I'll rub it down a bit and clean it up, and then that'll get fixed to the side of the bridge and to give the impression of, as an access ladder to the top of the gantry. So, you know, just by using the offcuts materials, and this is what I love about this kind of scratch build. You can adapt it, change it, you know, to suit anytime. You have a basic plan which you stick to, and then the rest of it, well, you know what, you just do it to suit yourself, right? And how you change. So really, today was the, you know, other than the ladder, was just finishing off these handrails and doing the 2 machine gun nests, which I've done diagonally opposite each other. Again, my choice. No real plan to follow. I just thought it would be right. Yeah, don't have enough material to do all 4 corners. Not only that, I was a bit worried about closing down the gap for the Tiger to drive over. These 2 little chaps did actually help today, because it just helps with scaling and getting things right in proportion. So I'm glad I've got those. So that's it really. Until the next time, really, the next session will be just taking this outside on the right day. We can get the right weather here. Laying down some plastic sheets, putting this on top of it, and then I'm going to spray it with a wood preservative, like a dark grey, mid to dark grey wood preservative. And I think that's going to need 3, possibly 4 or even more coats, because I want to make sure it's really well protected, because it's going to be outside for the rest of its life. So I want to make sure it's protected. But I'm going to spray it when a good day comes along, and then once it's done, dried, I can't wait to get my tank and drive over this and film it. I think it looks pretty cool. So that's me done for today. I'm Tony. Thanks for coming to my workshop again. If you like this, subscribe or thumbs up, and I'll see you real soon.